That is the end of Part B. Now look at Part C. Part C. In this part of the test, you'll hear two different extracts. In each extract, you'll hear health professionals talking about aspects of their work. For questions 31 to 42, choose the answer A, B, or C, which fits best according to what you hear. Complete your answers as you listen. Now look at Extract 1.
Good morning, everyone. Today I want to talk about the toxic effects of rudeness. To begin, I want to focus on the psychological impact of rudeness on individuals and groups. Rudeness can take many forms, from verbal abuse and name-calling to more subtle forms of belittling and disrespect. Regardless of the specific form it takes, rudeness can have a profound impact on our mental and emotional well-being. For the individual, rudeness can lead to feelings of worthlessness, self-doubt, and even depression. It can also cause physical symptoms such as headaches, stomach aches, and fatigue. When someone is on the receiving end of rudeness, they may feel angry, humiliated, or hurt. They may also feel like they can't do anything right, or that they're not good enough. Rudeness can also have a negative impact on groups and teams. When rudeness is allowed to go unchecked, it can create a toxic work environment that erodes trust and teamwork. It can also lead to high turnover rates and low morale among employees. In addition, rudeness can also create a negative image for an organization, which can lead to loss of customers and reputation. Rudeness can have a serious impact on the psychological well-being of both individuals and groups. It can lead to feelings of worthlessness, self-doubt, and depression, as well as physical symptoms such as headaches, stomach aches, and fatigue. It can also erode trust in teamwork within groups and organizations, and damage reputation. Continuing on from the impact of rudeness on individuals and groups, let's now talk about the link between rudeness and workplace stress and burnout. Workplace rudeness can have a significant impact on an individual's mental and physical health, leading to increased levels of stress, anxiety, and even depression. This can lead to employees feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, and disconnected from their work. When employees experience a high level of rudeness, they may start to feel like they can't do anything right, or that they're not good enough. This can lead to a feeling of hopelessness and helplessness, which can in turn lead to burnout. In addition to the impact on individual employees, rudeness can also have a negative impact on the overall productivity and performance of a team or organization. When rudeness is allowed to go unchecked, it can create a toxic work environment that leads to high turnover rates, low morale, and a lack of trust among employees. This can lead to decreased productivity, increased absenteeism, and a lack of motivation among employees. Rudeness can also have a detrimental effect on employees' physical health. Stress, anxiety, and depression can lead to a host of physical symptoms such as headaches, muscle tension, fatigue, and high blood pressure. These symptoms can also lead to a higher risk of chronic health conditions such as cardiovascular disease and diabetes. Rudeness in the workplace can have a serious impact on the mental and physical well-being of employees, leading to increased levels of stress, anxiety, and burnout. It can also have a negative impact on the overall productivity and performance of a team or organization, leading to high turnover rates, low morale, and decreased productivity. Moving on, let's talk about the role of rudeness in the erosion of trust and teamwork in organizations. When rudeness is allowed to go unchecked, it can create a toxic work environment that erodes trust and teamwork. When employees are treated with disrespect, they may start to feel like they can't rely on their colleagues or superiors. This can lead to a lack of trust among employees, which can in turn lead to a lack of cooperation and communication. When trust and teamwork are lacking, it can become difficult for employees to work together effectively. This can lead to decreased productivity, increased absenteeism, and a lack of motivation among employees. It also can create a negative image of the organization among customers, suppliers, and other stakeholders. Furthermore, rudeness can also lead to a breakdown in communication and cooperation among employees. When employees are treated with disrespect, they may become less likely to share information or collaborate with their colleagues. This can lead to a lack of information sharing and a lack of teamwork, which can in turn lead to decreased productivity and performance. Rudeness in the workplace can have a serious impact on trust and teamwork, leading to a lack of trust among employees, lack of cooperation and communication, decreased productivity, increased absenteeism, and a lack of motivation. It also can create a negative image of the organization among customers, suppliers, and other stakeholders. Continuing on from the impact of rudeness on trust and teamwork, let's now discuss the connection between rudeness and the spread of misinformation and conspiracy theories. Rudeness can fuel the spread of misinformation and conspiracy theories by creating an environment in which people are less likely to trust each other or the information they receive. When people feel disrespected or dismissed, they may become more susceptible to misinformation and conspiracy theories, as they may feel like they can't trust the mainstream sources of information. Rudeness can also fuel the spread of misinformation and conspiracy theories by creating an environment in which people are less likely to engage in critical thinking or fact-checking. When people feel disrespected or dismissed, they may be less likely to question the information they receive, which can make them more susceptible to misinformation and conspiracy theories. Rudeness can also fuel the spread of misinformation and conspiracy theories by creating an environment in which people are less likely to engage in constructive dialogue or debate. When people feel disrespected or dismissed, they may be less likely to engage in dialogue or debate with those who disagree with them, which can make them more susceptible to misinformation and conspiracy theories. Rudeness can fuel the spread of misinformation and conspiracy theories by creating an environment in which people are less likely to trust each other or the information they receive, less likely to engage in critical thinking or fact-checking, and less likely to engage in constructive dialogue or debate. Now let's discuss the impact of rudeness on mental and physical health. Rudeness can have a significant impact on both mental and physical health. When someone is on the receiving end of rudeness, they may feel angry, humiliated, or hurt. These emotions can lead to a range of mental health issues such as depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder. Rudeness can also have a negative impact on physical health. Stress, anxiety, and depression can lead to a host of physical symptoms such as headaches, muscle tension, fatigue, and high blood pressure. These symptoms can also lead to a higher risk of chronic health conditions such as cardiovascular disease and diabetes. Rudeness can also affect the ability to sleep, which is essential for physical and mental well-being. When people are exposed to rudeness, they may have difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep, which can lead to a host of physical and mental health problems, including fatigue, irritability, and mood swings. Rudeness can have a serious impact on both mental and physical health, leading to a range of mental health issues such as depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder, and physical symptoms such as headaches, muscle tension, fatigue, and high blood pressure, and a higher risk of chronic health conditions such as cardiovascular disease and diabetes. It also affects the ability to sleep, which is essential for physical and mental well-being. Now let's talk about the effects of rudeness on customer service and customer satisfaction. Rudeness can have a significant impact on customer service and customer satisfaction. When customers are treated with rudeness, they may feel disrespected or dismissed. This can lead to dissatisfaction with the service they received and a lack of loyalty to the company or organization. In addition, rudeness can also have a negative impact on the reputation of a company or organization. When customers experience rudeness, they may be less likely to recommend the company or organization to others, and more likely to share their negative experiences with others. This can lead to a loss of customers and a decrease in revenue. Rudeness can also lead to increased complaints and negative reviews, which can further damage the reputation of a company or organization. Negative online reviews and complaints can be detrimental to a company's online reputation, and it can be very difficult to regain a good reputation once it has been lost. Rudeness can have a serious impact on customer service and customer satisfaction, leading to dissatisfaction with the service received, lack of loyalty to the company or organization, and a loss of customers and decrease in revenue. It can also have a negative impact on the reputation of a company or organization, leading to increased complaints and negative reviews, and it can be very difficult to regain a good reputation once it has been lost. Let's now talk about the relationship between rudeness and aggression and violence. Rudeness can be a precursor to more aggressive and violent behavior. When people are treated with rudeness, they may become angry and resentful, which can lead to aggressive and violent behavior. This can be particularly true in situations where individuals or groups feel powerless or marginalized. Rudeness can also create a culture of aggression and violence. When rudeness is allowed to go unchecked, it can create a hostile and aggressive environment that can lead to increased levels of aggression and violence. This can be particularly true in situations where rudeness is normalized or even encouraged. Rudeness can also lead to a breakdown in communication and cooperation, which can increase the likelihood of aggressive and violent behavior. When people feel disrespected or dismissed, they may be less likely to engage in constructive dialogue or debate with those who disagree with them, which can lead to increased levels of aggression and violence. Rudeness can have a serious impact on aggression and violence. It can be a precursor to more aggressive and violent behavior and create a culture of aggression and violence, and it can lead to a breakdown in communication and cooperation, which can increase the likelihood of aggressive and violent behavior. Now let's discuss the connection between rudeness and social media and the internet. Rudeness can be amplified on social media and the internet, as people can easily and anonymously post rude or offensive comments. This can lead to a culture of rudeness and toxicity on social media platforms and online communities. Rudeness on social media and the internet can also have a negative impact on mental health. Being on the receiving end of rude or offensive comments can lead to feelings of worthlessness, self-doubt, and depression. It can also lead to anxiety and fear of further harassment. Rudeness on social media and the internet can also have a negative impact on social interactions and relationships. When people are treated with rudeness online, they may become less likely to engage in online social interactions or form online relationships. This can lead to feelings of isolation and loneliness. Rudeness can be amplified on social media and the internet, leading to a culture of rudeness and toxicity on social media platforms and online communities. It can also have a negative impact on mental health and social interactions and relationships. Being on the receiving end of rude or offensive comments can lead to feelings of worthlessness, self-doubt, depression, anxiety, and fear of further harassment, and it can lead to feelings of isolation and loneliness. Let's talk about the ways in which rudeness can be addressed and prevented. First and foremost, it's important for organizations and individuals to establish a culture of respect and professionalism. This can be achieved by setting clear expectations for behavior and enforcing them consistently. Organizations should also establish a process for addressing and resolving conflicts, and providing training on effective communication and conflict resolution. Organizations and individuals can also work to promote emotional intelligence and empathy. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand and manage one's own emotions and the emotions of others, which can help to prevent rudeness and promote positive interactions. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, which can help to prevent rudeness and promote positive interactions. Organizations and individuals can also work to promote active listening. Active listening is the process of fully attending to and understanding what someone is saying, which can help to prevent rudeness and promote positive interactions. Rudeness can be addressed and prevented by establishing a culture of respect and professionalism, promoting emotional intelligence and empathy, and promoting active listening. Organizations and individuals should set clear expectations for behavior and provide training on effective communication and conflict resolution, and establish a process for addressing and resolving conflicts. Finally, it's essential to remember that rudeness is not just a personal problem, but a societal one. To address and prevent rudeness, we must work together as a society to create a culture of respect, kindness, and empathy. This can be achieved through education and awareness campaigns, community building initiatives, and encouraging positive role models. One important aspect is to raise awareness about the impact of rudeness on both individuals and society as a whole. By understanding the negative effects of rudeness, people may be more likely to change their behavior and to speak out against rudeness when they encounter it. Another important aspect is to encourage and promote positive role models, individuals and groups who demonstrate kindness, respect, and empathy in their daily lives and interactions. This can help to create a culture of kindness and respect and inspire others to do the same. It's also important to engage in community building initiatives that bring people together to build a sense of belonging, mutual understanding, and empathy. This can help to create a culture of kindness and respect and inspire others to do the same. In conclusion, addressing and preventing rudeness is a societal responsibility, and it can be achieved by working together as a society to create a culture of respect, kindness, and empathy through education, awareness campaigns, community building initiatives, and promoting positive role models.
Now look at Extract 2. Extract 2, questions 37 to 42. You now have 90 seconds to read questions 37 to 42.
So today in our series on women who shaped medicine, I have the honor to introduce Mrs. Tu, who is the first mainland Chinese scientist to receive a Nobel Prize in the scientific category. And she did so without a doctorate, a medical degree, or training abroad. Simply amazing, so please receive a warm welcome, Mrs. Tu.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So I just gave a bit of information about your background, but it definitely does not tell the whole story. What inspired you to become a scientist?
Well, education was always important in my family. But the time in my life that had the biggest impact on my future was when I was 16. I contracted tuberculosis, and I had to take a 2-year break from studying. When I eventually returned to school, I knew exactly what I wanted to study: medicine. I was driven to find cures for diseases like the one that had afflicted me. So I studied pharmacology, including learning how to classify medicinal plants and extract active ingredients and determine their chemical structures. When I graduated from college, I started working at a newly established institute, the Academy of Traditional Chinese Medicine.
Very interesting that focus on medicinal plants. So when did you set your sights on malaria research that would eventually lead you to the Nobel Prize?
Well, that was in mid-1967 when Vietnam asked China for help battling the disease, because it was causing tremendous casualties amongst soldiers in the war. The parasite that causes malaria had become resistant to chloroquine, the standard malaria treatment at the time. Chairman Mao Zedong launched a project to find a cure for chloroquine-resistant malaria. A few years later, I was appointed to head the project.
So how do you even go about taking over such a huge project like this?
Well, my first order of business was researching the effects of malaria in situ. At the time I took over the project, Hainan Island in southern China was experiencing a malaria outbreak, so I traveled there to see for myself the effect of the disease.
So you witnessed firsthand the disease's devastating toll on the human body.
Yes, I did. When I eventually returned to China, my team started to review ancient medical texts to understand traditional Chinese ways of fighting malaria. Yeah, we had to do something at that point. Over 240,000 compounds had been tested for use in potential anti-malarial drugs, and none had worked. Eventually, we found a reference to sweet wormwood, which had been used in China around 400 AD. To treat what were intermittent fevers in the text.
I see. Intermittent fevers are a symptom of malaria.
Quickly, once we knew what we were looking for, it didn't take us that long to isolate one active compound in wormwood that seemed to battle malaria-friendly parasites. We tested the extracts of the compound, but nothing worked. So we went back to the ancient texts.
What were you looking for exactly?
Well, I wondered whether the active ingredient in wormwood was being damaged when we boiled it to preserve the solvent. So I tried another preparation, this time with an ether-based solvent, which boils at a lower temperature. This preparation didn't damage the wormwood. Animal testing showed a 100% success rate with this new preparation.
That is amazing. 100% test rate. So how did the human testings go?
Well, actually 2 colleagues and myself were the first human test subjects, and then we tested it on 21 patients in the Hainan province. The good news is, all of us recovered.
That is definitely a dedication to one's work. So when things calmed down, what was found to be the compound's active ingredient?
The active ingredient is called artemisinin. I think of it as a gift from traditional Chinese medicine to the world.
It truly is. And how did you feel about the amount of time it took for the World Health Organization to recommend artemisinin combination therapy as the first line of defense against malaria?
Well, it did take us a few years to get our work published in English, so there is that. I mean, the World Health Organization, World Bank, and UN became interested in our findings soon after that. So I guess what I'm trying to say is the important thing is that patients started to receive effective treatment. That is the end of part C. You now have 2 minutes to check your answers.